Welcome back to Thalias Cakes. In this video, I'm going to be making a very special cake that I made for my nephew's first birthday. Aww. Which was a Cookie Monster cake.
Cookie! Nom, nom.
First thing that I worked on was the Cookie Monster's head that I made out of Rice Krispies. Here's a quick helpful tip. To avoid a sticky Rice Krispie mess, apply shortening to your hands. For my Spanish people, chorten, okay? You just grab it, rub it around your hands like it's lotion. I know it's gross, but you gotta do it. Once it's all over your hands, then you can begin to work with your Rice Krispies. I formed Cookie Monster's head into an oval shape, then flattened out one side to make it look domey. Domey? Is domey even a word? Once I was happy with the shape, I wrapped saran wrap to hold its shape together. I then put it in the refrigerator for 24 hours to harden. Oh yes, and before putting it away, make sure to measure the Rice Krispie head on top of one of the top tier cake layers where it will sit on. This is super important. Don't forget to simple syrup each cake layer. Trust me, you do not want a dry, crumbly cake. Your customer will be highly upset, and you'll probably have to give them money back. And your guests will lie to you and tell you that it's great. How'd you like the cake? Oh, it's delicious.
Yo, this cake is trash. Where's the garbage?
I first started with my top tier. I'm placing down my buttercream to hold my cake layer in place. I can now fill and stack my cake and then give it a crumb coat. Now that my cake is coated, I can pop it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes to chill and get started on my bottom tier. After all, we are making a Cookie Monster cake. So what would a Cookie Monster cake be without cookie dough filling?
Do I hear a yes? Do I hear a oh yeah?
When filling a cake, you always want to create a border around the cake before putting in your filling. I can now give this a crumb coat and pop it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. First tier is now ready for a thick layer of buttercream. I can now put this back in the refrigerator to chill for about 20 minutes. I wanted my buttercream to be semi-hard for when I apply my final touches. And for my second cake layer, I will do the same exact thing. My bottom tier is now ready to get covered in fondant. To make this color, I used a little bit of yellow food gel coloring and a little bit of brown food gel coloring. I'm using my rolling pin to pick up my fondant, then draping it over the cake. Remember to measure the circumference of your cake, so that way you know how wide you need to roll out your fondant. I then quickly grabbed my fondant smoother to smooth out the top and started smoothing out the edges with my hands to avoid any cracking. With the pizza cutter, I'm trimming off the excess fondant. I can now prepare my cake for stacking. I prefer using bubble tea straws. They work just as good as wooden dowels. To cut the straw, I pull up the straw a little, then snip off the rest. Once that's done, I push all the straws back in. Here I'm going to place my bottom tier onto my cake board. Now I can place my top tier onto my bottom tier. I can now make all the details that will go onto the cake. First, I'll start with my chocolate chips that will be going on the bottom layer. I rolled a piece of brown fondant into a ball, then pressed it against my hand and gently rolled it around so it would make a small soft point at the top, and from there I pinched the top up. Next, I'm gonna roll out some white fondant and cut out some clouds and milk bottles. If you would like to know where I got these cutters, I will leave the link below in the description box. And lastly, the Sesame Street sign. I made myself a template. I rolled out a piece of green fondant and cut it out with my fondant cutter. To create the yellow border around the sign, I'm using my clay extruder. To glue it on, I used water. If you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to share this video with others on your Facebook and give it a thumbs up. Also, help me reach my 800 subscriber goal for 2018. So if you haven't already, help a sister out and subscribe to my channel. Alright, let's get to the fun part and decorate. To apply the sign on the cake, I laid it flat on its face on my bench scraper and laid it up against the cake. Now I can randomly start to apply the clouds all around my top tier cake. For the milk bottles, I use water to stick them onto the bottom tier. I also use black edible marker to spell out the word milk on all 3 bottles. And for extra detail, I made little milk drops. To add on the chocolate chips, I used a ball tool to make an indent where I wanted to glue each one. Doing it this way made it look more realistic. With yellow buttercream, I'm piping all around the border of my top tier. I added a couple straws to the top tier to be able to hold the Cookie Monster's head. Going back to the Cookie Monster's head, here I'm using a knife to cut out the Cookie Monster's mouth, then smoothing out the inside. For the eyeballs, I made 2 white balls of fondant and cut out 2 little black circles for the pupils. I used water to glue everything together. I used buttercream to glue on the fondant eyes and the mouth. And lastly, I can finally pipe the blue buttercream all over the Cookie Monster's face with the grass tip number 233. And voila! There you have it. I had so much fun making this one. It's just so exciting to see my cake ideas come to life. If you enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up. Also be sure to check out my Instagram and my Facebook. If you're new to this channel, I have a playlist right over here where you can check out all the creative cakes that I've made in the past. Click this circle button right here to subscribe to my channel to continue to receive more free cake tutorials and quick and easy dessert tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.